You're listening to Let's Stay Together Anime Break, the sub-series of Let's Stay Together where we talk about the 2019 anime Fruits Basket. I'm Ellen.
And I'm Kayla.
And today we're discussing Season 2, Episode 20, which was called Are You Okay?
It's like, no.
Nobody's okay. Did we make the joke last time?
Probably.
Now that there's like a whole week between when we record, it's like I forget things even more than I forgot before. I don't know.
It's okay. We just pretend it's a running joke instead of us forgetting what jokes we already made.
Right, continuity jokes. Yes. This episode covered the rest of chapters 81 and 83 of the manga. Chapter 83 and the rest of 81. So what happened was last time there was episode 81 and 80, or chapter 81 and 82, and I neglected to mention that only part of it was covered, and we kind of talked about it in the discussion.
Yeah, it basically went like Rin Student Council, and the anime made it Rin Student Council.
Yeah, exactly. And then so therefore we covered this in our podcast episode 42, which we mentioned last time, and episode 43, which is called People Who Know How Scary It Is to Be Alone Can't Help But Love Others, which is a reference to the Rin stuff. So
yes.
But trust me, it was
title.
There. Yeah. It won't fit on a title card for sure. It was. I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to pick something that's short. The one before was called Things I Can't Give Up, which was much shorter. Anyway, the episode opens last time, paradoxically, with Rin clutches Tohru the evening that she came to Shigure's house. Shigure, Kyo, and Yuki stand back and watch them together, and Yuki realizes there's one thing that he and Rin have in common, something that they yearn for, and we cut to the credits. So just a reference to the scene from which they had last episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At school, the kids' class has decided to perform the beloved classic Cinderella for the cultural festival and will be voting on roles soon. Tohru turns to Hana and Uo, saying it'll be wonderful, but Uo's annoyed. She wanted to do a historical play. Mito Koman apparently was on the list, and she wanted a specific role in it too, and complains that they're way too old for this crap. Regardless, Toru's looking forward to finding out the roles tomorrow. Uo says that it's a given that the prince will be the prince, and Yuki hears this and chimes in that he won't be accepting any main roles because he's busy with the student council. Kakeru calls Yuki from the doorway, right on time. It's time for their meeting, and Tohru tells him not to push himself too hard as he leaves. I'll be fine. Thanks, he says. In the hallway, Kakeru whinges again about how Yuki should get a cell phone, as if it isn't 2020 and a given. But Yuki's worried that he'll need to get a Guardians. This is from the 90s. The story's originally from the 90s, so I guess you can't update that part of the technology.
I could see it as like if he needs a parent's permission, Yuki just not wanting to deal with that.
Yeah.
Until now.
It's a legitimate part of the story. I was just teasing. Being facetious. He has a pager, obviously.
Yes.
Some people listening are like, what's a pager? Anyway. Yes. Yuki's worried that he'll need to get a guardian's permission to get the phone, as you said. Kakeru asks about his relationship with his parents. Yuki says it's not tense, but it's like a shirt buttoned up wrong. It's awkward. Oh, I know exactly what you mean. I totally get it, Kakeru says, and Yuki looks a little surprised. Yeah, buttoned up wrong. That's exactly it. And Yuki's like, why are you agreeing with yourself? But a book flies through the window of the student council room as they approach and surprises them. A villain, Union! A villain has finally appeared before the school defense force! Whoa, what are we gonna do? Kakeru says, and Yuki's like, you look way too happy about this. And then he opens the door to investigate seriously instead of being excited. It's Machi inside, panting. Books and papers are strewn everywhere. Yuki remembers a similar situation the day that they met. Kakeru approaches her, and Kimi now arrived then too. Seeing the mess, Kimi surmises that it was a poltergeist and now denies it. Kakeru asks them to leave this to him, i.e. pretend they didn't see it, and now gripes. Yuki says that he'll leave this to Kakeru to take care of, and they'll head to the student council meeting. On the way to the meeting, Nao complains, how can Yuki turn a blind eye to that? There's also rumors that Machi is a destructive devil who breaks stuff and flips boxes over, because that's what a destructive devil would do.
Imagine it's like, woo.
Yeah, exactly. She's like the Tasmanian devil or whatever.
Yeah.
That's why I thought it was funny. Just to clarify. Tips boxes over. It's the worst. It may be your way of dealing with stress, Nao says, but she shouldn't trouble others. Yuki says it's fine for now. They'll take care of it later. Nao complains again, and Yuki says, I said later. Yuki's sure that it was Machi who did it, but he thinks they shouldn't make a big deal of it. There must be a reason for it, but he needs to give her time to calm down first, and it sounds like Kakeru is in the know about what's going on too. During the council meeting, the kids reject someone's ridiculous proposal for the culture festival, but Yuki is distracted. Kakeru and Machi seem close, he thinks, but not like boyfriend and girlfriend. After the meeting, Kakeru welcomes them back to the room. The room is still pretty messy, and Machi has gone home. All things that Nao complains about again. Even more pissed off, he announces that he's not feeling well too and pieces out, slamming the door and causing a few shards of glass to drop from the broken window. Yuki picks up the stack of papers that Nao is carrying, intending to finish Nao's work while Kakeru finishes cleaning up. Kakeru looks thoughtful for a second, then knocks the papers in the air, shouting, "Scatter!" while Yuki screams, and then just like, why?
He's so distraught.
I love his screams so much. He's like, ah! Like, so good. I don't get it, Kakeru says. Why does Machi do this? She doesn't tell me anything. She left when I asked if it was because of me. Are you upset, Yuki asks. Maybe, Kakeru says. Hey, Yuki asks while picking up the papers. What is Machi to you? My little sister. We're siblings, Kakeru says. Oh, so that's how it is. You're siblings, Yuki says, and Kakeru is like, now you're agreeing with yourself, too. Yuki, of course, realizes that Machi and Kakeru don't have the same last name, and Kakeru asks if the Somas have successor feuds. Yuki says that there might be, but he wouldn't know about it. Kakeru says that his family has these issues. Their dad is loaded as fuck. That's his words directly.
He would, like, really cringingly use, like, that kind of slang.
Yes. I hope he says that in the dub. I definitely haven't gone and checked, even though we talked about how we need to watch the dub last episode.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it's caught up yet.
No.
We won't know for a while.
He'd be, yeah, Union, my dad's loaded AF.
He's just like, why?
What? He's like, I don't understand. I don't even have a cell phone. What are you talking about? Kakeru is the oldest. Kakeru is the oldest son. Huh? Were you gonna say something else?
Kakeru saying to Yuki's like, okay, boomer.
Yuki is a boomer.
Yes.
Okay, boomer's the only thing we millennials have left to say.
Yes.
The only thing we can do now.
Start crying to the uncaring void.
Pretty much. What was I saying? Kakeru says that his dad is loaded as fuck, as I stated before, and Kakeru is the oldest son, but his mother was a mistress, and Machi's mother is his father's wife. But Machi is younger and a girl. Their moms fought about who would be the successor. Machi and I had a pretty Spartan upbringing, he says, and we see them as children, back to back. At first, he tried to meet their demands. You know how everything parents say is right when you're a kid, he says. Then he started to think that it was dumb, and he threw a temper tantrum at a fancy dinner, what looks like a fancy dinner party, and flung plates everywhere, and he said he wouldn't go along with this crap anymore. His mom seemed to come to her senses after that and withdrew from the feud. The paper's now stacked again, and Kakeru looking at the broken window, he says, Machi might not be free yet. My parents and I still have lingering bad feelings from it. Feels like when your shirt's buttoned up wrong, just like you said. Yuki thinks of the tension with his own mother. Kakeru says they're so old-fashioned, it doesn't matter if the successor is male or female. How foolish for them to involve their innocent children in this. Yuki looks thoughtful, then throws the papers in the air as well. Whoa, are you going mad too, Yun? Kakeru asks. Nonetheless, you have to live with it, Yuki says. Even if they're foolish, appalling, or infuriating, children can't trade their parents just as parents can't trade their children. Yuki remembers asking his mother in the past if he was just a tool for her. You can't choose who they are, he says with a rueful smile. You just have to live with it. And try to rebutton your shirt, he says. You don't gotta button up your shirt, right? Kakeru says. It's good enough even if it's buttoned up wrong. Like this, he says, and he demonstrates with his own sweater. Looks lame, Yuki says with a chuckle. Yeah, just like that. You need to laugh it off, Kakeru says, except that you can't do anything about it and laugh it off. Yuki says that he's not making sense and Kakeru argues, but Yuki thinks that everyone goes through life with their own burdens. Machi, Kakeru, himself, even their parents. Later at Yuki's parents' house, his mother signs a form so that he can get a cell phone and join the rest of everyone in 2020. She asks if that's all. After all, she and his dad are very busy people. Yuki says that's it and thanks her. A maid comes to tell his mother that it's time to go, and Yuki takes off too. Yuki, she says, looking away. Don't spend too much time on the phone. Yuki's surprised. As he walks out of the house, he thinks with a chuckle that it's the first time she said something so parent-like to him. He remembers Kakeru saying, yeah, like that. You just need to laugh it off. Yuki smiles. I hope that someday we can look back at this and laugh about it together, he thinks. At a later student council meeting, Nao complains that the forms look crumpled, and Yuki's like, is that so? And Kakeru's like, it's your imagination. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's like, and later Yuki's on the phone, he's like, you guys played this Angry Birds game?
Have you heard of Bejeweled Blitz?
Yeah.
It's so rad.
It's like, I can't stop.
Later, Nao and Yuki walk down the hall together. Yuki gets bombarded with questions about some crazy plan for the cultural festival that someone submitted. A campfire where kids can roast sweet potatoes, fireworks. Sounds so awesome. But Yuki wishes they would realize that it's way too awesome to be possible. Nao gripes about how tiring it's been to go around telling people that it's not happening. The two wondered just who put the stupid proposal in the suggested box and went around telling people about it. Hey, Union, Kakeru calls from the student council room doorway. You know that proposal I submitted for the campfire and fireworks? Did it get rejected? Yuki grabs Kakeru by the throat. Surrounded by sparkles, he says, so it was you, while Kakeru chokes just a little bit. It's a friendly choking.
Yes.
Yuki clarifies that the useless proposal was indeed rejected, now sasses him for blabbing about it to everyone. Machi and Kimi arrive, and Yuki and Kakeru look concerned. Now immediately starts berating her and demanding an explanation for her destroying the room the other day. I apologize for the trouble I caused. I won't do it again, she says, bowing, not meeting the eyes of any of the student council members. You won't do it again, Yuki says? Saying that solves nothing. You need to help us understand why you did it. Kakeru and Kimi say that he's so deep and kind, and now grumps. Kimi says that Yuki's like a prince. It's not true, Yuki says, and Machi reacts, but it's really hard to tell what her reaction is, because she, kind of, doesn't look down. That's, the only... She reacts to what he says.
Yeah.
It was a pretty neutral expression, but she reacted. Anyway, I don't know how to describe it.
Slightly less neutral than Machi's usual.
Yeah, exactly. Expression. Her expression isn't neutral. It's downcast. It's just it was she actually reacted instead of not reacting, I guess. Mm-hmm. Prince, I completely forgot, Yuki says, and he dashes off to be in his class where the roles for Cinderella are being announced. Some girls, including Minami in the Prince Yuki fan club, approach him and ask him again if he'll accept the role as Prince, but he denies it. Plus, I don't think I'm the best choice for a prince, he says, but the girls think, of course that isn't true. Yuki announces the main cast. The fairy godmother will be played by himself, Yuki Soma. The evil stepsister will be played by Tohru Honda, and Tohru jumps up at the announcement, and the Yuki fangirls say, it's perfect for you, and cheer, but when Yuki announces that the evil stepmother will be played by Minami, she's like, eh. She's like, eh. Sorry, my voice cut out for some reason. I was like, that's just a breath, that's not a sound. Yuki continues that Cinderella will be played by Saki Hanajima, shockingly, and the prince will be played by Kyo Soma. Kyo says. And then suddenly realizing what happened, he stands and shouts, hang on a second, and Yuki's like, too late. Come on, Prince Kyo. You never know, you might be great, Prince Kyo, his friends tease, and he's like, you think I can even act? Ooh, it's like, at least you'll get laughs, and he's like, this isn't a comedy. How wonderful to be cast as a prince, Tohru says, stars in her eyes. Shiso-san will be so delighted. Don't you tell him. You better not tell him, Kyo says. Kyo goes on to complain about that the cast is a mess in general. I mean, Hanajima is Cinderella. I'm pleased to work with you, Prince, Hanajima says. And the class is like, is this the creation of a wicked Cinderella? Will her dress be black? Yuki asks if Tohru will be able to play the evil stepsister. Yes, of course, she says determinedly. I'll be more evil than the devil himself. You can count on me. Yeah, she probably can't do it, he thinks. I loved this part very much. Meanwhile, on the other side of the class, the Yuki fangirls congratulate themselves on a scheme well laid to get Tohru into an evil villain role, as if this will somehow convince Yuki to see her in some light other than how he normally sees her. Yeah. Minami is particularly happy about this, but then one of the girls reminds her that she's the evil stepmother. Gah! She says, then covers her eyes in shame, and quotes, before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves. A lesson well learned, I guess. The meeting now over, Yuki says he'll be going back to the student council. Tohru is about to tell him not to push himself too hard, but then she stops herself and smiles warmly. Please do your best, she says. Yuki smiles. Nuo calls Tohru over to come and do something about Kyo being grumpy about his role. I don't know what she's supposed to do, but it was do something about him. Yuki remembers Shigure's words from the other day with Rin. The important thing is, will you keep letting yourself be cared for? Or... Back in the student council room after their class meeting, Yuki finds Kimi and Nao. Machi and Kakeru went shopping. Kimi says they're weirdly close, but Yuki thinks that they haven't told anyone else about that they're step-siblings. Yuki goes to look in the closet for an order form from the previous year. Union, I wouldn't go in there if I were you, Kimi says. And inside the room, Yuki's like, huh? But the closet door slowly closes, and Kimi says, the lock's been broken since yesterday. Also, I love how his eyes would blink open in the dark, like a Warner Brothers cartoon. Yeah. Oh no, Kimi tried to warn you, Union, she says, and Nao's like, not fast enough. Yuki shakes the door handle, but it won't budge. He asks if he can kick the door down, and Nao's like, please don't, I'd hate to see anything else destroyed. And he and Kimi decide to go and get help. How pathetic. If I was really prince-like, Yuki thinks, I wouldn't do something like get locked in a closet. He stumbles around in the dark and knocks over some black paint. It splatters all over the wall and the floor, and on his shirt in his hand. The paint triggers a memory. Back at the beach over the summer, Kureno stands nearby as Akito speaks to Yuki. You're so pathetic, Yuki, Akito says. It's embarrassingly painful to watch you try to live optimistically. I can tell. I know what you want. What you yearn for from Tohru Honda. Akito leans in close to him and whispers in his ear. What you want from her is... An argument outside the closet door snaps Yuki back to reality, and with a slam, the door opens. Machi stands in the doorway holding a chair. She's broken it down the door with it. He looks over, still a little dazed. Are you okay? Machi asks him. Nao whinges about the state of the door. Kimi laughs, and Kakeru says that he was the one who wanted to break it down. Kimi teases that Machi said she wouldn't break stuff again. Kakeru leans in and asks Yuki if he's okay. He still seems kind of out of it. He says that he's a little sick from the paint fumes. Yuki thanks Machi. I thought you wouldn't want to feel anxious, she says quietly, still not looking at him. Still a little dazed, Yuki gags. Outside where the kids have clearly hustled him to fresh air, Kakeru offers him a cup of water and asks if he needs the nurse. Yuki says that he just needs the air. Kakeru says that anyone would feel sick in that small dark room, filled with paint fumes like that. Yuki says that he really did feel anxious. Some painful memories were brought up by the room. Oh no, is it something indecent? Kakeru teases. No, I'm talking about mentally, Yuki says. I'll just say it straight out. I'm stupid, so I won't know unless you tell me, Kakeru says and sits beside him. I never told anyone before, Yuki says. I haven't even told that person yet. It's something pitiful and pathetic. He thinks of Tohru and thinks, what I yearned from her was... And then we cut to the credits. Dun dun dun. It's like purposeful dun dun dun, but it's not really dun dun dun.
Like you can see like scratches on the door. Like
yeah, after she hits it with the chair. Down. The chair legs are also bent, which is great.
Yeah.
I was like, I did enjoy that very much.
Yeah. I think they had fun with the destruction too, because they had the broken window crackling after now slams the door again.
He slams the door after he leaves, and it like tinkled. The glass like tinkles to the floor. That's how you know it's still like broken.
Mm-hmm. Now I was so angry the entire episode.
The whole really episode. Funny. I was writing this and I was like, I can see why people don't like Now. I mean, it's funny.
I think he's hilarious because he's just so ineffectually angry about everything.
Yes. I also love these scenes where he's walking next to Yuki and he's like so short. I feel like I can say this as a short person. But it's just like, he's so short. They make him look so short and angry. First of all, the most exciting thing that happened in this episode was that they announced the school play and that Cinderella is going to be played by Hana, which is great. Nothing can go wrong. And Kyo's going to be played by the prince. I forgot that we were going to have to talk about Mito Koman again.
Yeah.
There was something I remember in the manga it was like, I want to be the guy who gives him the medicine or whatever. And this time she was like, I want to be the guy that gives him the sealed box or open the sealed box. And I was like, why are these so specific? Like, I don't...
Yeah.
Maybe everybody knows in Japan. I don't know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a historical drama.
It's like, I think the specificity is the joke. It's like, I want it to be this very specific minor character.
Yes, but... exactly. It is great. I appreciate that she wants to be a very specific minor character.
Yeah. Like her grandma is about Cinderella, too.
I know. She's like, we're old. We shouldn't do Cinderella. This is dumb. Like,
yeah.
Fine.
And it's like she's not grumpy about the idea of a play, just specifically Cinderella, because she wanted to do this other play.
A historical play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. It's a weird thing about her character. That it's like, you think that she just wouldn't care at all, like Kyo.
Yeah.
I love how Kyo, when Yuki announces that he's going to be the prince, he's like clearly like not paying attention, like he thinks he's not going to be picked for anything.
Yeah.
And he's like, huh? And then he's like, what? Like, it's really great.
Yeah. Like unaware of his own popularity he is.
Yes. There's something very charming about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that isn't Yuki jealous of that? So, or envious of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That came up in a couple episodes ago where he said that. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess he
remarked on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even at the the school trip, he remarked on the fact that like Kyo is like pretty popular compared when they're talking about like who's getting confessed to.
I don't think you could handle another confession. I feel like he gets like 3 a day. It's because he was being protected by the fangirls or whatever.
Yeah.
They have a pact. I do think their scheme of getting Tohru to be in an evil role for some reason is so silly and like teen girlish to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's actually just for like the petty satisfaction they get out of it rather than any kind of practical effect it's going to have.
Yeah, they're like, haha, she got picked for the evil stepsister role, which of course Tohru definitely can't do. So
yeah,
that'll be a good time.
Yeah, I did love in the manga, they just had him like write out all of the roles at once, and then they all reacted to it. So I liked it being like Toru's the evil stepmother, and they're like, ha ha ha, and then it's like Manabe's the evil stepmother, and she's like, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Yeah, there was a better effect to having
Yeah.
that, and also Kyo being the prince too.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
best
And
prince
it's
until
like,
last.
wait a minute, Yuki's just like, too late.
Yeah. He also did that in the manga, but it was also great.
Yeah.
Their reactions to everything are on point.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of reactions to things that were funny and perfect, was like Kakeru throwing the papers and stuff later.
Yeah.
And then Yuki, I enjoyed that scene very much. I enjoyed it in the manga, but I enjoyed it being animated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. I think it's a scene that benefits from the voice acting too, because you have like Kakeru's usually pretty silly, but like so him like throwing the papers and being like scatter, but then like immediately talking pretty seriously about the situation with Machi.
He does sound very upset,
Mm-hmm.
which is nice.
Yeah.
And genuine isn't the word that I'm looking for. His voice is very unaffected when he's saying that, as opposed to when he's like joking, which he does 99% of the time. Even when he's talking to Yuki about all his painful memories at the end or whatever.
Yeah.
Or he's about to talk to Yuki about his painful memories at the end.
Mm-hmm.
He's still teasing him.
Yeah.
He's like, not something dirty, and Yuki's like, no.
Yeah. I bet he's like imitating Kimmy like, to make those kind of jokes. Like, oh my god, something dirty.
I know there wasn't enough Kimi in this episode.
Yeah. I did love her little like sing song and like oh Machi, you just said you wouldn't break stuff.
Yes. I think Machi, there was a tweet that I should send it to you where Takaya drew Kimi leaning on Machi. I don't know why that just escaped me for the reason. But it was cute because I think like they kind of have some kind of like not like a mutual understanding, but they're just kind of like Kimi doesn't question Machi's shit.
Yeah.
The way that Nao does, and Machi's kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like I know that you're faking. It seems like she doesn't really care about Kimi either, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of like the idea of them like actually kind of accidentally being friends.
Yeah,
like...
I believe that could be a thing, especially later. But yeah,
Yeah.
I do like the idea of them becoming like kind of accidental friends. I don't know how to describe it. Yeah.
It's like they don't really like think of each other that way, but then they're like, oh, there's Kimmy.
Yeah.
Say hi to Kimmy or
I'll
whatever.
walk with her to the student council room.
Yeah.
Kimmy's like, oh, we ran into each other. But it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
They would never just run into each other. Like,
yeah.
And then like walk together. Like that takes effort. You have to kind of like the person to do that. Especially after you do something embarrassing like Machi did. So
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Kimi seems to be sort of indifferent to her issues, or like not indifferent, but not
I
angry
feel like
about
the
them
like
now.
yeah, I feel like the bluntness of Kimmy might be kind of appealing in that sense.
That's true.
Or it's just like, oh yeah, she totally destroyed the classroom anyway.
Yeah. And I don't really care.
Yeah.
Or like it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. It's like I don't care personally because I'll never have to clean up anything in my life because I.
She didn't even show up at the part where Nao brought the papers. I was like, where was she? Like, do they just know that she's not? Or maybe she was done with whatever she had to do for the student council, and Nao wasn't. But like. She just wasn't even there. But yeah, and then I also liked her other line that basically the other thing that she says is when she's like, oh, I wouldn't go in there if I were you. And then she's like, Kimi tried to warn you.
Yeah.
It's like, it was way too late.
Yeah. I thought there's like a pause too, like after the door closes.
Like, what?
And then she's like, oh no, I tried to warn you.
Chaos.
Yeah.
She's a bringer of chaos. Like, Nao says that Machi is like a evil devil or whatever, a devil of destruction, but I think Kimi's the real chaos demon.
Yeah, she causes the psychological chaos rather than the destruction.
Yes. I like how Yuki's like, how about I just kick down the door? And now it's like, no, and then he doesn't do it. Like, Yuki, just kick down the door, especially if you're gonna have a traumatic incident, which is what happened.
Yeah. Well, he didn't know he was gonna knock over paint and trigger a flashback.
He wasn't like, hello, darkness, my old friend. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can never predict a traumatic flashback.
Yeah. Things just sneak up on you.
Darn. But yeah, anyway. He has he has a memory from the beach. So it was a time that we didn't see. We saw the before and after. Like when Yuki walks up to Akido, and then the time after is when he found Tohru on the beach. Like that was what happened after that time, just for clarity. It's been a while. I don't know why, it just feels like I don't know. Feels like longer in between things, even though it's totally not
Mm-hmm.
in the anime. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the way that it's consumed.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
I
I'm
also feel
studying the
like
manga, but
the beach is such a like
it's long.
large and kind of self-contained thing since they go to like a new area and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But, like anything that like is after the beach seems like it happened a long time.
Yeah, that's true. Especially this because this is like in the first half of that
Hmm.
section.
Yeah, because I remember thinking I was like, the beach was still this season. Like,
Yeah, it was. Well, same with like when we saw Rin before. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. She was at the beach, and that
mhm.
seemed like so long ago, but it wasn't. But yeah, so he had that memory, and seems like we'll finally know how he really feels about Tohru, even though at
Mhm.
this point it doesn't seem to be romantic.
Yeah.
I mean, unless Rin has a isn't a has romantic feelings for her, you
I mean,
know. Not there
yes.
as discussed. I do like that scene that they have of Rin where Yuki's like talking. It's just the two of them together, but you see like Rin like grab the back of Toru's shirt like even harder,
Hmm.
which was touching. I think
Yeah.
it was the same scene from before, but like the way that it was cut in this time was nice. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh yes, and then we also I was just trying to remember all the things that we need to talk about. Listen, there's a lot. Machi. It turns out that Machi and Kakeru are half siblings.
Yep.
That's a whole thing. Yuki and Kakeru have this great connection in the first half of this episode where they have that like, oh, like that's how it is, where Kakeru
Hmm.
Yuki is like, oh, I get weird sibling relationships, you know, because he has
Hmm.
this sort of strained relationship with Ayame. And then Yuki has his weird family relationship with Kakeru. He's like, oh, I know about weird family shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of sweet. Like they're in like totally different worlds, but they still have like kind of instinctively understand like
It's called being a good friend.
yeah, like the issue that they're each other is going through.
Mm-hmm. And it seemed for a long time like Yuki was all alone, but no,
Hmm.
Kakeru understands.
Yeah, I love those two bits with the like you're why yeah like you're why are you agreeing with yourself, and then
Yes,
like Yuki does the same thing later.
yes. He's like, oh, I get it.
Hmm.
I also like how earnestly, because Kakeru, I think even up to this point was, you see him as like kind of a goofball, and he teases Yuki a lot. Obviously, they get along and they seem to have like a good relationship, but there's been this like Machi's always kind of haunting the background of the student council,
Hmm.
and now that we have a deeper understanding of their relationship, it's like it's always so nice when Kakeru is so earnest about trying to like help her.
Hmm.
Um, that we see in this part. I mean, he was there before. He would, you know, I don't know, tried to get people to
Hmm.
like brush it off before,
Hmm.
like he did with Yuki, I guess, in the first time that they met.
Yeah, the like earnestness in the conversation with Yuki is like kind of a first for him, and it's nice. I think it says both a lot about his relationship with Machi and his relationship with Yuki.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he doesn't seem to like run around having super deep, earnest conversations with everybody. He has this
Hmm.
kind of, I don't think it's a facade because I think it's like a genuine part of his character, but like
Hmm.
the way he normally presents himself is kind of like carefree and silly and whatever.
Yeah.
Even when Yuki gets trapped in the closet, and then
Hmm.
he's like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
and saying that he wanted to break down the door,
Yes.
and then now being like, "Nobody should have broken down the door."
Hmm.
I do like. I don't know what happened. We don't get to see what happened, but I feel like they were probably arguing about what to do. Machi just like picked up the chair and like did it without
Yeah.
asking. He was like, "Well, I'm in it for the drama." So.
Yeah.
And Nao was particularly grumpy this episode. He hasn't been that.
Hmm.
He's been always been grumpy, but not as much
Yeah.
as this time.
Yeah, so it make me laugh. It's just like every time he shows up, he's just so angry.
Sometimes he commiserates with Yuki, which is fine.
Hmm. Yeah, I do like the bit where they're like complaining about everyone getting excited about the like ridiculous proposal.
That's right. There was a follow up from last time because Tohru also asked him Yuki the same thing at home.
Hmm.
But I always enjoyed that part. I do also
Yeah.
like how Kakeru is like, "Oh, did my proposal for fireworks and stuff get rejected?" And they're like, "Yes."
Yeah. Yeah, I always loved them. Like you could like cheerfully strangling him. Like, so it was you.
Ah, it's like, "It was you, you bastard."
Yeah.
Well, Kakeru never has to clean up his own messes, so you know,
Hmm.
just like Kimi. I mean, this
Yes.
was a good Yuki. I mean, we learned more about Kakeru and Machi, but it was kind of a Yuki trauma focused episode.
Yeah. I kind of liked how since they put the two like Yuki parts together. They
Mm.
had it a bit more like, I don't know, it felt a bit more like a day in the life of Yuki. Like we have
Yeah.
because like they had to add the bit where like Kakeru comes to get him for the meeting, and
Mm-hmm.
then because that used to be one scene, the
Mm-hmm.
whole like announcing the play and then announcing the cast.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yes.
like I feel like it kind of like contrasts nicely with the that early episode that had him like going through like a day being like the new student council president and like being awkward and
Being so withdrawn from
yeah,
everybody.
not knowing how to be around people who want to be around him and stuff. So and
Yeah,
so it like just kind of shows like kind of how far he's come from that point.
it's true. The other nice thing is you have the real strong running characteristic of him talking about how he's not like a prince and how people think he's like a prince still.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's something that's like it hasn't been talked about in a while, but they definitely talked about it before in the series.
Yeah.
So like at the beginning, they're like, "You should." Of course, it was like, "Of course, the prince is going to be the prince," and then he's like, "Oh
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm not like a prince." Then he goes to the thing, and then he's nice to Machi, and they're like, "You're such a prince," and then he's like, "No, I'm not," which Machi notices,
Mm-hmm.
and then the same thing is repeated later when they're giving out the roles, and then also when he's in the closet, and he's like, "Oh, if I was really like a prince, then I wouldn't get locked in the
Mm-hmm.
closet," which is just a stupid thing to think, but whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure princes get locked in the closet all the time.
Well, they probably don't, but that's because they never have a reason to go
Go to the
into a
closet.
storage closet because they have servants.
Like, go get me the records from last year's order.
Yes.
Yeah, a good point.
Mm-hmm.
This is my commoner logic.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. There's not really a resolution to that. It's just interesting how it's repeated so much in
Yeah.
this episode.
One thing I liked, just kind of a specific translation compared to the manga, is like when Kakeru asks if if the Somas have like succession issues,
Mm-hmm.
and he says like no, and he's like, well, we might, but I'm not involved in them,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like that's
Yes.
it's because they already like have planned out everything about your life and where you're going to be.
Yes. He's like, oh yeah, like yeah, it's true because everybody's planned everything for him, right? So he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's just like expected to be like an important member of the family in the future. So
Yeah, there's succession issues, surely,
yeah.
but not for him because everybody knows what he's gonna be doing. So.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we have the scene with his mom. I almost forgot about that. That's
Oh, yeah.
important. The scene with his mom is great because there's like a couple memories of her. I think there's at least two. There's the one where he was at school when they were talking about his succession issues.
Yeah.
And then there was also the one where he was a little kid and was like, "So am I just a tool to you?" And she's like, "So what? So what if you are?" Those are the two memories I can think of offhand.
Yeah.
But yeah, then he goes to see her, and then she's like, "Yeah, like don't use the phone wastefully." And then he's like, "Wow, she said something like a mom."
Yeah.
He chuckles.
Yeah, I think it's a nice follow up to the whole like parent teacher conference thing where Ayame is like pointing out to her where it's like Yuki's giving us a chance to make things better. Like he'd have every right to shut us out, but he's not doing that. And so like you see her like when he just like thanks her for signing the thing, she like looks up at that like she didn't expect to be thanked for it or something, and kind of realizing
Yeah, what Ayame
like,
said. I don't know. Yuki even says in his like conversation with Kakeru in the paper flinging scene, he's like, well, you just have to like, yeah, like you might have a relationship that's like wearing a shirt that's buttoned wrong, but you just have to keep trying to button it, you know. And he's kind of like, everybody has their issues, even our parents. He always, even though he has been has been slighted so many times by his family, he does. And then you have the scene later where Kito's like, it's sickening how you try to live, watching you try to live optimistically, but it's like, no, it's just like part of his personality. So
yeah, he really is very optimistic despite like how he seems like outwardly.
yes,
Like, yeah, he does just kind of like keep trying.
I think it's just an important part of his character to take note of.
Yeah. And pretty like empathetic, which I think we
Yes.
talked about before, but like it's something he like didn't see in himself because he's like feeling like, oh, I'm not that kind of like kind person, but he's
You are.
Yeah, he's repeatedly shown to be able to like see where other people are coming from, even when like he'd have every right to not care about that. Like the fact that he's like, oh, our parents have struggles too, and it's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean it's okay.
Yeah, no.
Like, but,
Yes. To use you like a tool. Yeah, it's for their
Yeah.
own advancement, social advancement.
yeah, so like to be the kind of person who can be like, oh, my parents have struggles too that like kind of explains some of their behavior, even though like it in no way
Generous.
makes it okay. Like,
Yes. But yeah,
it's a very Yuki thing.
it is, and to see like Machi struggling and trying to help her out, where he's like, yeah, I don't think it makes sense to like just. It's like she needs time to like, I don't know, like be upset or whatever he kind of thinks. I don't know. It's not clear exactly what he thinks, but he's like, she needs time. I don't think we should just like ask her about. I get the feeling I shouldn't push it. You know, he has good empathetical instincts, I guess.
Yeah.
So does Kakeru. He thinks that he's dumb. He's like, I'm dumb and I don't understand anything, but it's like, you do. It's like a shirt buttoned wrong.
Yeah.
I appreciate him demonstrating a shirt buttoned
Yeah.
correctly. He's like, we get it.
Yeah. That's a really cute scene, though.
It
Like,
is. It's a good one.
you could just
between them.
like laughs at him, and he's just like, "There, you're laughing."
Yeah.
Like, it's obviously like his goal there was
Yes.
to try and lighten the mood after everything.
Well, and like, I guess Kakeru is kind of like, he seems to like kind of get what Yuki's trying to say, where it's like, well, we've been in a similar situation, and like, you know, eventually you just gotta like laugh at it because it's so ridiculous or whatever. Like that's kind of what he's trying to say. So yeah, and to get him to laugh, like lighten up.
Yeah.
You. It's like, it's interesting though, because Yuki's like halfway there. Yuki's so serious about everything. He's optimistic but super super serious, and I feel like Kakeru is kind of like, I don't think it's really touched on this episode, but I don't think that he's super like optimistic the way that Yuki is. I think he more worries about things. He seems worried about Machi, right? I feel like his attitude is kind of like, everything sucks, but you gotta laugh. And Yuki's like, everything will be okay, but I can't laugh yet. You know, it's like, it has to be good before I can relax.
Yeah.
So in that way, they're balanced for each other. I don't have any other things to say right at this point in time that are not spoilery, because this is also kind of a setup for next episode.
Yeah.
And subsequent future episodes with this play and this culture festival, fireworks or not.
Yes. I feel like a campfire would be doable, but maybe not fireworks.
And maybe they just like can't have a fire.
Yeah, maybe just against regulations. Yeah.
Also, they're like, and then we'll roast potatoes on the fire. And it's like, you can't have like a potato for every student. It's kind of a lot. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh man, that sounds so good.
I know, it sounds delicious. I'm on board with Kakeru's plan, for the record.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it except for the budget, I guess, and the fire permits or whatever. Yeah.
I feel like I spent like half my time in Japan, like wanting to walk into the road following a sweet potato roasting smell.
It's like you see it like wafting like a cartoon smell, and your nose like, it's like, and you like you get dragged over toward it.
Yes.
That'd be the same like for me, but it would be like a taiyaki smell, probably. It's like, I smell pastries.
Yes.
Also
I feel like that's a universal instinct. You're like, fried dough. It's like, because every culture has its version of fried dough.
It's like roasted sweet potatoes, though. They smell so good. They do smell really good. Do you have any other? You don't have any other things to say? We're talking about sweet potatoes.
I did like kind of the like the continuation of the kind of like Yuki leaving the Tohru's nest thing with the bit where like Tohru's about to say like, don't push yourself, and then changes it to like do your best or whatever it was. Yeah. Whereas less of a like take care, like less of a be careful and more of a like do good job kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the first part of the episode she's like, be careful, and then the next part she's like, you know, I don't know. Yeah. Do a good job. I don't know. Yeah. There's no good translation for that.
Yeah, not really, but
good
you get what it means.
Classic ganbatte.
Yes.
It's not like push yourself, but it's like, do a good job. You're doing good. I think she recognizes all
it's like a it's less of a like, be careful doing this, and more of a I believe you can do this.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Yes. It's a different sort of like tone.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm concerned for you. Now it's like, I know you're doing a good job. Keep doing a good job.
Yeah.
Leaving the Tohru nest.
Yes.
Like Haru said.
Yes.
Yuki's growing up. He's becoming a big
real boy.
Real boy. Big bird. He got out of the little bird nest. Right,
yes.
Bird? Okay, good. Well, next time we'll talk about this next episode, which I'm sure will be painful. Based on the flashback we saw. It's episode 21. It's called There Was Definitely, which is also vague.
Yes.
Of course. All right, thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hello. Oh,
Hi.
we're back to talk about spoilers. We haven't gone anywhere, but
that you know of.
okay. Well, you could have time traveled in the second that I took to breathe. That's possible. Anything's possible.
Like, want to see me run to that tree and back? Want to see me do it again?
You're full of good jokes. Anyway, I don't know why I'm running out of steam today. It's like Sunday afternoon. It's not even like I don't know what's going on. Let's talk about this. This Cinderella's coming up. Who's excited? I'm so excited.
So excited.
I was pleased by everyone's reactions. I have confidence that it will be 100% wonderful. Oh, you know what's going to happen? That means that Ayame is going to come back soon to visit them. This is important. It's the most important.
Yeah.
And they have to
because Kakeru has to meet
his
meet
commander.
the vice
didn't
commander.
he already meet him?
He has to meet the vice commander.
Oh, Mine, Vice Commander Mine. Yes, correct. Vice Commander. I love their relationship. It's great. Yeah, next time is Yuki's pain. That's coming.
Yes.
Oh, wait, sorry. We didn't talk about spoiler things. We talked about next episode spoilers. Yuki's being nice to Machi. Machi noticed him talking about how he's not like a prince. I guess she hasn't had her scene that she hasn't said that yet, though, right?
No, she has hers. I don't think that's come up yet. So
we'll probably have to wait till next season. I was like, oh yay! There's finally Machi has like more dialogue. She says like 5 things this time instead of like 2.
Yeah.
I feel like Kakeru's like, yeah, anybody'd be scared in a dark room with a small dark room with paint fumes, and it's like you don't even know how hard on the head you're hitting that nail, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like we saw the bit where he's talking about how they were raised, and then like he had the moment where he's like, "This is stupid." I feel like we see a little bit more of that flashback with it being animated, and it just made me think of like when we get the flashback of how Kakeru used to be, like in school, where he's very serious and grumpy.
Kind of like Yuki, serious and grumpy. Maybe someday Yuki will be a goofball. Bah.
Yes.
I don't know if he's capable of that.
No.
He's capable of his sass.
Yeah, it's like his true form is being an asshole rather than being a goofball.
Yes. Kakeru is a goofball. Yuki is an asshole, and Kyo is just like super soft. That's like his actual true form. Kyo being so oblivious to how much people like him.
Yeah.
He's being in denial about how people can like him, which of course stems from his other issues.
Yeah.
Looking back on it. I was just like thinking about all the characters, and it's like Tohru didn't have much to say, but I mean, she just has her. She's gonna be all like, I can't do it later. Trying to be an evil stepmother or stepsister.
Yeah. I've heard like really confident, like I'll be more evil than the devil. Yuki's like, yeah, she can't do it.
No. Well, Yuki knows.
Yeah.
I like how she's like, leave it to me. I can't remember exactly what she said in the translation, but she's like, oh, you can trust me to do it. It's like, oh, okay. Sure, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the like Yuki fangirls didn't factor that into their plan.
It's like, no, how endearing it will be to see her try and fail to be evil. She'll be even more beloved.
I think Minami was the one who rewrites the script later and fixes it, at least in the manga.
No, I think it was the
Oh, it was the other girl.
The, like class president who like doesn't have a name. We don't really see that much.
The non-glasses class president.
Yeah. Some class council person.
The name
I liked her a lot, even though she only showed up in like that one chapter. Yeah. She was just so determined to make this a good play.
Just like, if the script doesn't fit the cast, I'll make the script fit the cast, and like rewrites the whole thing in like a couple hours.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Long enough that they're all still at school, or Tohru was still waiting at school for Kyo.
Yeah.
In that one where he's being being emo. That's how I would describe it.
I was gonna say being a grumpus.
Yeah, I was gonna say something else. Like being a little bitch, being a little.
Yes.
He's being really grumpy in that one part for whatever. I mean, not for whatever reason. We know what reason. But it's like the same reason as everything.
He's going through stuff
he has some,
right now.
Has some things. He's having some feels. Everybody else is kind of on the Yuki. I mean, not Yuki. Kyo and Toru's, little plots are a little bit on the back burner for this Yuki things that are happening right now. So
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about how, like, I think in, like, one of the manga episodes or something, we talked about how, like, Kyo's development kind of plateaus for a little while, while, like, Yuki's pretty steady throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, Toru's... This is the time where I think Toru's issues are starting to...
Yeah, this is, like...
really come out, and she's starting to have to face them for her growth.
Yeah. So hers is, like, just kind of starting in a way.
Yeah.
In a forum where we can see them.
Yeah. Other than freaking out, like, once or twice. That kind of... I feel like hers kind of really starts in the beach, but you don't get to see a lot of it at the beginning, I think, is...
Yeah, like, I feel like we've seen her issues for a while, but, like, she's just now starting to kind of deal with them. Because she's always so focused on
other people,
helping other people,
freeing them from the curse.
Yes.
But sometimes you gotta look at your own issues.
Gotta put on your own mask before you help with the children.
Yes, before you help with your emotional support, Kureno.
Yes.
Is that a joke that... Oh no, this is spoilers, so everybody knows.
Yes.
Or they're willing to be confused, I guess, for a while.
Yeah. We made a lot of jokes about Soma's on an airplane for some reason.
It's just because we just miss traveling so much,
Yes. It's like, oh, I missed the safety announcements. Missed them telling me to follow along on the placard in front of me, and I never do. So yeah, Yuki's pain next episode.
Yes, we're gonna get his backstory. I wonder if it'll take more than one episode, because wasn't it like we reread 4 chapters at a time for it, and it was like all his backstory of Akito abusing him and then him running away and helping Tohru and the full hat and stuff.
I think it'll be a one
full
episode.
Full hat.
Yes.
You think it'll be one? Maybe.
I think it'll be one.
Cut it. There's a lot of like internal. You could probably.
There's a lot of. Yeah, a lot of it is stuff that I think will be much faster in an animated medium than
you don't need
on
lots
panels,
of panels,
because there's lots of like internal, monologuing.
There's a lot of like empty panels. That's
true.
It's
a lot of just like dark panels with Yuki's dark thoughts all the way across.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
Because it's really just like, there's like Yuki like being sold to Akito and Akito snapping, baby Yuki meeting baby Kyo. And then the hat stuff, really.
Yes, exactly. I guess you could probably fit all of that in one thing. Or maybe they'll make that like 1.5, and then the second half of the second one will be Kakeru, like the resolution of... Because there's like a part with Kakeru after, where he's like, he gives him advice or whatever. I forget exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Doesn't he hit Yuki in the face with a soccer ball?
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a soccer ball.
Yeah, I think so. Kakeru's the comedic relief that we need.
Yeah. He's like, don't cry, and smacks him in the face with the soccer ball. And then Yuki throws it back like 10 times as hard.
Yes, he's like, I'm not! Or whatever. Yeah, they're good friends.
Yes.
Choking each other like friends. They talked about Yuki's like, oh, I don't know if the Soma family has inheritance problems. And it's like, well, there's the whole like stuff with with Akito and Ren. But obviously he's not involved. You're right that he's kind of...
Yeah.
In a way, he's like sheltered from the family politics, because they're just like, you are perfect and special, and Akito's perfect special companion. You... and you will always be that way. And so it is decided. Yuki has like... He's very... I think because of like Akito's abuse, he's sort of... his like thoughts and his feelings are all very internalized. Like, he wouldn't... His focus is all kind of like on himself and how he feels about things. Not like in like a selfish way, but just in a like, I think he's not really privy to any of the goings on of the family other than his time with Akito, and like, so he probably doesn't really know what's going on. He just knows that Akito was okay, and then Akito snapped. That like that's his kind of his perspective, and like the things that have happened with him. But he's not like Shigure or whatever, who has more. Yeah. Despite denying it to Rin, he does have more inside knowledge about what's going on in the family, like the older Somas do. All of them. Like Hattori and Kureno also. So yeah, I don't think he has that. Anyway, I didn't really think about that when we read the manga, and I thought about that this time when he was answering Kakeru.
Yeah.
like, I don't know. There's not sort of inheritance issues, sort of, in a sense.
Yeah.
There's definitely issues with the inheritor. Let's put it that way, maybe.
Yes.
Or successor. Akira's successor.
Yeah. Well, there was like that was the whole like panic behind them trying to find a like proper match for Akira. It was like we need an heir.
And Ren is like, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
Akira was like, Ren's the only one who understands me.
Mm-hmm.
Which may or may not be true. The only person who cared about him specifically as opposed to finding a successor. We talked in our manga discussion about how the family is almost like its own sort of like thing, where it's like, yeah, Akira's like the head of the family, or Akira's the head of the family, but there's like a whole sort of like, I think of the family as being kind of like a character in this story. Like the family has its own motivations that are different than like Akito's and the Junishis.
Mm-hmm.
Akito isn't the only one who keeps everything the same. The family has influence over Akito, right?
Yeah.
I don't really know how to describe it. I don't know exactly who it comes from either. It's like they're like a collective sort of thing. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, he doesn't really know, but there's a lot going on in the family, which we see later in the series. So
yeah,
again, not really exactly spoiled by this, just reminded me of that. It's like, yeah, he doesn't know. Oh, there's gonna be more Machi stuff later. I'm excited. They get to have their thing where Machi tells him about all her family issues and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, we get kind of the second half of the story that Kakeru told of their family issues.
Yeah, the Machi side of the story.
Yeah, because like he says, he's like, maybe Machi's not free yet, and no, she's not.
Nope. I wonder if he knows about her brother. I don't remember.
I think he says like he's heard the same like bare bone story as everyone else. Like, because I think when Yuki asked about it, he's like, well, I've heard what everyone else has heard, but you should ask her. Like, basically, like.
Yeah, I get the feeling that Machi didn't talk to Kakeru about it either. He knows the same thing.
Yeah, I think he can tell it's not accurate.
Yeah, well, I think he knows about their family's bullshit, so.
Yeah, because he's kind of like, he's got like a serious expression when the rumors come up, and he tells Yuki to ask her about it instead.
Yeah, and he listens and creeps.
So.
Yeah, good point. And then later we have Kimi's basket. I mean,
yes.
That has nothing to do with anything we talked about. I just thought it was funny.
Yes, it's not the backstories of all the student council.
Except for now, he doesn't really get a backstory. I mean, there's just like his like crush on Motoko. Oh, I did it right. Yes, I did it right.
Yeah.
But like, it's not really.
He gets more of a like a motivation than a full backstory.
Yeah, that's true. For why he hates Yuki so much. Although I think out of all the student council, he likes Yuki the best.
Yeah.
At least they commiserate about Kakeru being dumb.
Yes.
We haven't really seen that yet. Just like a little hint of it when they were talking about the plans for the cultural festival. But yeah, later he does more when Kakeru's like, how about guys, this thing? And they're like, no.
Yeah. I feel like he actually like gets along weirdly well with Kimi.
Yeah. They're always together. I think they're like, you know, they seem to have a, I don't know. I think he really doesn't like Yuki. He hates Yuki because of the Motoko thing, but he really doesn't like Kakeru. And I think he thinks Machi's like full of shit. You know, like he doesn't want to put up with Machi and Kakeru. Kimi is just kind of like, she teases him a lot, but I don't think she has
I feel like they're
hide,
like,
you know?
Yeah. I feel like they're like each of their brands of like shit like just rolls off each other. Like now's angriness doesn't ever affect Kimi, and Kimi's Kiminess is kind of like, stop doing that, and like she just continues to do that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's just like they're just like constant forces in each other's lives compared to everyone else.
Yeah, compared to being like, you know, it's a struggle to figure out if you should be mad or sympathetic for Machi. You know, I get it. I get it now.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely find her frustrating if you were, you know, trying to work with her and didn't know anything of her backstory or anything.
Yes, we're not like Yuki.
Yes.
And and Kakeru also, it's just like, it's hard. I think it's hard for Now to take him seriously, even though he clearly is a good person and stuff. And then Kakeru picks on him, so you know. Now doesn't seem to have like the family drama like everybody else seems to have, so they can't connect about it.
Yeah, I think his like the closest thing to family drama is that he has a whole bunch of sisters, and like he struggles to be taken, like struggles to be heard.
Yes.
if I recall
I
correctly.
don't know, does he? I was like, is that true? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was something about him having like a bunch of older sisters.
Is
Like
that like in
he's
an
the
author's note?
possibly.
I'm Googling it. I don't have any of my manga with me today. Oh, he has 2 older sisters. In the trivia section, it says he has 2 older sisters and a middle class upbringing, whatever that means. So yes, you're right. 2 older sisters is enough older sisters. I have 1 sister, and that's enough. Maybe now someday I'll have a glow up like Momiji. Do you think he'll be short forever? Do you think he's just one of those kids that was like short for longer in high school, like Momiji? Anyway, okay, I obviously don't have any other things to add except to talk about now. Next time we'll talk about Yuki's trauma. It'll be good. Good time? Question mark.
Yeah.
We get to see the hat story again. We good. Kyoko will be back, I guess, briefly.
Yeah.
Actually, he wasn't. He didn't really see Kyoko, so.
Yeah, we had like one somewhat lighthearted episode in between all the Rin tragedy and the Yuki tragedy. So.
There's a lot going on in this part of the series. It's fun.
Yeah.
The more there's more trauma to come. I mean, there's even more trauma to come, so that's fine.
Yeah, I think it was a good idea to adapt it with like all the Rin stuff together and then all the student council stuff together.
I agree. I don't think it would float as well without it, or with it. Like they kind of had a couple little hints from this chapter, like the Tohru saying.
Yeah, they're sort of like almost like different viewpoints of the same events, kind of.
Yeah, especially because
like the two episodes.
It starts, because it's like kind of Rin's viewpoint. I mean, Tohru's viewpoint. The first episode, like 2 episodes ago, was kind of Rin's viewpoint. Then it becomes Tohru's in the... Wait, no. In the second half? Yeah, that was all 1 episode. Am I crazy?
It's 2 episodes.
No, it was, yeah, because she wakes up in the second episode. Yeah. So then it was Tohru's viewpoint. Then it's like goes into Yuki's, and it starts
because like we had a little bit. Yeah, because like we had a little bit of Yuki like talking to Haru and about it and stuff, and then this kind of goes in here, and we have like a little bit of Rin stuff, but mostly goes into the Yuki stuff. So
yeah, you're right, and it is all around the same time. It's within like the couple of days around the same time.
Yeah.
So. Or at least so it seemed. Because Kakeru's like, oh, did my thing get rejected? And Yuki was like, yeah, it was the meeting you missed yesterday or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's only been 1 day and a lot happened. He like left school and talked to his mom. You know.
I don't have anything else.
Nope. I was just like, oh, Yuki's gonna get a cell phone and then Kakeru can send dirty videos or whatever.
Yes.
Okay, good. So next time we'll talk about this episode, which it'll be sad, I'm sure. But it's because it's Yuki, it'll be kind of optimistic also.
Yes. It ends upliftingly.
Uplifted. Yes, it ends
yes,
uplifted.
It's uplifted.
The whole episode is lifted up.
Yes.
Okay,
it's like by the end of the episode, you'll only see the bottom half of the screen and then just a big black bar.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. It's a whole concept thing. All right, good. Thank you all for listening. Then we'll see you next time, I guess.
Bye-bye.
Bye.